Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Frank Isola has the day off, but I'm excited to work with today's replacement host.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I hate you.
Oh, you're back! Sorta,
Yeah,
kinda. That's
back.
good.
I'm back.
Tone, I'm going to Maryland Northwestern football. That's why I'm in purple.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. I have
great.
great respect for Maryland. I live there.
No,
great
you
respect
don't.
for the university.
No, you don't. No, stop.
Huh?
Stop, please. You have great respect for your university.
Yeah, I do.
You want to see your university bury Maryland.
I like that.
Bury
But I have
them.
great respect
That's what you
for
want.
the Terrapins. Scott Van
Yeah,
Pelt
as in
could be
zero.
right over there. He could be.
Zero.
but he's
Welcome
not.
to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Guardians force a Game 5. The Niners get back to 500, and the Lynx upset the Liberty in Game 1. But we begin today with the New York Yankees winning their second straight game on the road in Kansas City and winning that series 3-1. The Yankees now head to the ALCS, awaiting the winner of the Detroit-Cleveland series. The Yankees got 7 innings of one-run ball from their ace Garrett Cole and a double and 2 walks from Aaron Judge. Wilbon, how do you see the Yankees as they head into the ALCS?
Tony, probably the favorite. I mean, we saw last night with Garrett Cole. I mean, look, nobody seems to have more than one guy that for 100 years you and I would call an ace. I mean, Detroit certainly has that, and we'll get to him in a little bit with Tarek Skubal. But when you have Garrett Cole and you can run him out there and get 7 great innings from him, and if you start getting any hitting at all from your big boys in that New York lineup, and we know who I'm talking about, how can the Yankees not be the favorite? I don't know that I'm going to make them overwhelming favorites to end with, what they would call a drought in New York since 2009. But I mean, if you've got that combination, to me, it puts you even with Detroit, right? If you wind up even with them, and you wind up ahead of anybody else. That's the way I'm seeing the Yankees right now, and I don't think you're going to disagree with me vehemently.
No, I'm going to go further. I see the Yankees right now as definitively the best team in the American League. They just won a series in which Aaron Judge had no RBI.
Yeah.
He had 144 RBI in the regular season, so they overcame that, and one of the ways they overcame that was with their bullpen. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't yield an earned run to Kansas City in 15
plus.
and 2/3 innings. Yeah. So now I know the Yankees, you refer to the drought. I know the Yankees have not won in their last 5 ALCSs dating back to 2010, and I know the fans refer to it as a drought. But again, I see them as the best team. Look, they had in 4 games against Kansas City, they had 28 hits. That's not great. That's not a lot of hits. But they had 27 walks, Mike. Their on-base percentage was .355, which is tremendous. They had runners in scoring position all the time. Kansas City did a great job this year. They came from 106 losses to the playoffs. Bobby Witt Jr. had nothing. 2 for 17, 2 singles, no RBI. But Kansas City stayed with the Yankees. They were outscored 12-10 total in the series. The Yankees are better. They're the best team in the league, I think.
Yeah, they're better than Kansas City. And I think they're better than either Detroit or Cleveland. I think they are.
Me too.
I don't know that this is some Yankee juggernaut that we can just look at and say, aha. And Tony, even when you have a juggernaut now, because there's so many playoff teams like the NBA or NHL, there's so many playoff teams, you can get tripped up even if you're a great team. I'm hesitant to go out there and make a declaration about the Yankees. I think they are. But if you got Skubal, and therefore, in the other American League Divisional Series, the Guardians not only scored, but they won. Cleveland hadn't played at a run in 20 innings, but put up 5 last night to beat Detroit. Forced a deciding Game 5 in Cleveland tomorrow. Ooh, can't wait for that. The Tigers will have presumed Cy Young winner Tarek Skubal on the mound. Tone, how much of an advantage are you giving him?
Okay, Skubal is a great pitcher. I believe he should be the unanimous Cy winner in the American League. He went out there in Game 2. He threw 7 innings, 7 scoreless innings, gave up 3 hits, and struck out 8. He has not allowed an earned run, I believe, in a little over 24 innings at the moment.
He's the best.
So the best shot Detroit has is with him. But stay with me with what I'm going to say now. Because let's go back to that Game 2 for a second. When he left that game in the 8th inning, it was 0-0. He didn't have a lead. because his team had no points at that point. No runs, no points. Okay? So you have to consider that. This series has had two signature moments at the plate because last night was the only time that both teams scored. Prior to that, it was 7-0, 3-0, 3-0. Those two moments, Kerry Carpenter in the top of the ninth in Game 2 hit a 3-run home run for Detroit. And yesterday, pinch hitter David Fry in the top of the seventh hit a 2-run homer for Cleveland and then had a squeeze bunt that ultimately got in the winning run. So my point here, Mike, is that the games are being decided not when the starters like Skubal are out there, but when the relievers are in the game.
Yeah, but Tony, the starter, and you don't have that many, have to keep you in it. Not just in it, dead even, or you can lose the game. To me, everything you described, and I'm glad you ran that down the way you did, you described October baseball. That's what it's been for 140 years. So I don't know that that counts against Detroit for having a guy who in Game 5
I don't think it counts
can go out there
him.
and you can count on him more than you can count on any pitcher in baseball.
But you got to hit, Mike. You got to hit.
At some point, you
got
only
to
need
get
one.
runs across the.
You only need one.
But you've got to get a run across the plate. That's why it's so hard to pick a winner in this.
It is.
Because they're not afraid of each other. They are division rivals. They're both 1-1 at home. They're both 1-1 on the road. Obviously, Cleveland went into the game yesterday having lost 11 consecutive elimination playoff games dating back to 1997. Do I want Skubal? Of course I do. Do I think it guarantees anything? No, I don't.
By the way, I'm glad Cleveland lost 3 straight of those games in 2016, those elimination games. I'm just saying. Tony, I think Skubal gives him a big advantage. I think when you have that guy, you know what it's like? It's like playoff goaltending in the NHL. It's like Stanley Cup goaltending. When you have that guy that you know is going to keep you in a game, there's a certain, I hate to use the word swagger, but there's a certain confidence that Detroit lineup must feel. They don't have to do much if they got Skubal out there, especially if he can go 8.
Again, the last time he was out there, they didn't do much. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. All right, that's all I'm saying. We move to football now. Last night, the 49ers beat their division rivals Seattle in Seattle, 36-24. They did that even though they got hosed on a replay on a muff punt. But San Francisco won. They won without turnovers, though for a while there, it looked like they might blow another double-digit second-half lead. Wilbon, does this game end your concerns about the 49ers?
I told you yesterday I had no concerns about the 49ers. All of that was overstated and overrated because that's what happens in the NFL every single week. Every single week, we treat it like it was the 1960s college football season when they played 10 games. They don't play 10 games. They don't play 11. They don't play 14 or 16. They play 17 games, soon to be 18. The season is long. It's long enough now to have a couple of dips. There's going to be another one. And people can overstate it and say the sky is falling if they want. I tune them out. I don't hear them. It was a must game for the 49ers. No, it actually wasn't. They won. They're going to be in control of that division because the Rams don't even have any healthy players that we know of. And I don't believe in the Cardinals. I would like to. Yeah, I'd like to believe in the Cardinals. They have offense one week. They have defense one week. They never seem to put it all together. The 49ers are the class of the division. I never had any worries about them. And if they get their people back and involved in the way you only need for about 6 weeks, if you can have them all 6 out of the last 8 weeks, they're going to be fine. So this notion that the sky was falling, please stop.
Let me just also say, and I think I'm right on this, that the Rams have beaten the 49ers this year and the Cardinals have beaten the 49ers this year. This was a very good win last night for the 49ers on the road in division. The final score, 12 points, may be a little bit misleading, though if they had gotten the ball when they should have on the muff punt, they get it on the Seattle 18, and they're probably going to get at least 3. Are my concerns ended? No, I'm different than you. My concerns are not ended because they don't look like the 49ers of the last 2 seasons to me.
Not yet.
I don't know how much is injury, but they keep losing running backs as well. Their quarterback, I think, is rated as high as number 9 in the entire league, and he had a very good game last night. But their defense isn't good, Mike. Their defense isn't good. They have given up a lot of fourth quarter leads, second half leads. They ought to go get Robert Saleh. They ought to go bring him back and make him the defensive coordinator again. Because that's what they're looking at. What helps them, and I know you'll agree with this, there's no great team
No.
in the NFC.
No.
Minnesota's not great. And if you think Detroit's great, let's see what they do at Dallas. If you think Washington is great, let's see what they do at Baltimore.
Yeah.
So it's open. It's still open. Let's take a break. Coming up, do the Padres or the Dodgers have the edge in tonight's Game 5?
Padres, Dodgers. I can't wait for that. You might even be able to see a little bit since it comes on at 8 Eastern. Lynx stole Game 1 from the I-95 Liberty. So I'm guessing they're the favorites to win the NBA title now.
Seattle, by the way, goes 3-0, then 0-3. Yields 14 points a game, then 37.5. That's just like New Orleans and maybe like Buffalo. Start fast, fall down. Maybe.
Don't trust.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by the refreshing taste of...
Time for toss-up. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, finishes the show, then dresses up in his Maryland gear to root against Wilbon. Loxley's going to FedEx that stuff over. I'll have it by 6 o'clock. What's first?
Toss up. Who you got in tonight's Game 5? The Padres or the Dodgers?
Okay, the Padres should be favored because the Padres have Yu Darvish pitching and they have Fernando Tatis Jr. hitting. Okay, Darvish went out in, I think, Game 2, 7 innings, Mike, 1 run, 3 hits.
He was great.
Tatis is batting 500 in the playoffs at large, 440 against the Dodgers, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. So they should be favored. I'm going to say the Dodgers because I'm rooting for the Dodgers. Because I want to see the Dodgers and Yankees in the World Series. I want the 7-game possibility of Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. But, Mike, it's based on nothing but wishing. Because, for example, Yamamoto, who's starting tonight, got clubbed by the Padres this year. And the Dodger bullpen is exhausted and ineffective, whereas the bullpen for the Padres has allowed no earned runs in 10 innings. So I am expecting San Diego to win.
The Dodger bullpen, which is all they got, gave up nothing in 8 innings the other night. So I don't know where you're getting that from. Yamamoto also gave up. When he got just clubbed was like 20 months ago when they opened the season, these two teams in Korea, and he couldn't get out of the first inning. He gave up like 5 earned. So that to me doesn't matter. And Yamamoto and Darvish, if you look at their broader profiles, their portfolios for the season, they're almost identical. So I think that's a standoff. The game is in Los Angeles. The Padres are not going to have benefit, which they admit. They benefit from that rabid crowd in San Diego. Right. It's going to be different. It's going to be in L.A. The Dodgers are going to win. I don't care about Dodgers and Yankees. As a matter of fact, I probably should be rooting against it. For all the people who live in the middle of the country, like where I grew up, I should be rooting for anything else.
Even though it's the greatest World Series in history as a pattern. They put together a great World Series. Why don't you root against that?
You know, that's your thing, not my thing.
Sure.
But the Dodgers are going to win.
Deprive America of something good.
Dodgers are going to win.
Deprive
They're going to win tonight.
That's great. That's great. What's next? Give me the next one.
Toss up. Who should be favored now in the WNBA Finals? The Lynx or the Liberty?
Okay, that was a great comeback last night. Minnesota, I believe, was down 18 in the second quarter. They were down 15 with 5:20 to go. Well, Mike, I'm not sure I understand why New York was ever favored to begin with. I understand they had the best record this year, but Minnesota was second and only 2 games back. And to me, most importantly, Minnesota won 3 out of 4 in the head-to-head with New York. Minnesota has won the WNBA championship 4 times. New York has never won this thing. So, I don't think that New York is ahead of them. And last night, Mike, Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu combined for 14 of 47.
Rough night.
Mike, that is 29.8% at home in the finals, and that's choking. And so was missing the layup at the end. I'm sorry, that was choking.
Tony, it was stunning. And I watched it because the football was junk compared to this. The NFL game, I don't care how many millions watched it, it was nothing compared to the drama of Game 1 of the WNBA Finals, which when you could put it with the baseball, then you had 3 events last night in some football, which millions of eyeballs wasted their time on. This game was amazing, Tony. They may have choked, but we're talking about Breanna Stewart. If you're talking a list of players in the league, you'd like shooting 2 with the game on the line, Breanna Stewart's going to be on your short list. And when she missed that second free throw, it was a scream out loud moment.
Yeah, she's been an MVP. Oh. But you're at home, Mike, in the first game of the finals. What would you call it if you were sitting down at a typewriter to write? What would you call it?
I was watching it, and then she missed the layup. I was so shocked. Let me just say this, though. There's a player that doesn't get nearly enough conversation. And since Candace Parker and Diana Taurasi have retired now, and you know where they are at the top of my favorite player all-time list in WNBA, Nafisa Collier is my new favorite player. She's a runner-up for MVP. She was great last night. She's been great all season. Again, middle of the country, doesn't get the recognition. I'm giving it to her. Yes, the Lynx should be favored now to win this series. They're going to have, after they play one more game in New York, and it's best 3 of 5. By the way, they're going to 4 of 7. What do you think in the future?
I like the inherent drama, 3 out of 5 everywhere in all sports. Yeah. I like it. That's it. Yeah. Let's take one last break. Still to come. Will Ryan Day get just his second win over a top 5 team in Oregon tomorrow?
Ooh. Big Ten, sort of. Who's going to win when Jaden Daniels meets Lamar Jackson Sunday?
I am rooting for New York in Game 2, and I'm rooting for Breanna Stewart and Ionescu to be great. Because that's a tough way to go home at night.
Yes, it is.
When you shot 14 for 47.
Because they're great. Those are 2 great players, and they had a tough night.
Happy time, people. Happy 30th birthday, T.J. Watt. The Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker has 101 sacks in 109 NFL games. That's rather a surprise considering that Watt had 11.5 sacks in 27 college games at Wisconsin, after which he became the 30th pick in the 2017 draft. He has been a wrecking ball in the NFL. Watt led the NFL in sacks last season with 19, led the NFL in sacks in 2021 with 22.5. That season, Watt was Defensive Player of the Year. Watt led the NFL in sacks in 2020 with 15. Watt has 4.5 sacks in 5 games so far this year and has been first-team All-Pro 4 times.
Is it possible he is going to wind up being better, however you evaluate that, than his brother, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame? JJ, one of my favorite NFL people ever. Can he be better than JJ? No one thought that when he was drafted, Tony, but it's possible, right?
It looks like
we got to get JJ on the air. Ask him that.
Happy anniversary, Lakers. On this day 4 years ago, led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Bubble Lakers won the finals over Miami in the odd, attenuated COVID season. LeBron is now entering his 22nd season in the NBA. Only 5 other players have played over 20 seasons. Of that group, Dirk Nowitzki is the only one not to play for at least 3 teams. Nowitzki spent his entire career with the Mavericks. Kevin Willis is the only one who isn't either a Hall of Famer now or a shoo-in to be. Vince Carter, the only player to reach 22 seasons, will be enshrined in Springfield this weekend. Robert Parrish, Kevin Garnett, and Nowitzki are already there, and LeBron will join them.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, Tony, let's congratulate our dear friend of many years and colleague, J.A. Adonde, one of the Kurt Gowdy Award recipients for the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield. Welcome to the club, J.A. Proud of you, bro.
Well, you're in the club. I'm not in the club. Happy trails to number 2 Ohio State facing unranked opponents. The Buckeyes will face their first ranked opponent of the season tomorrow, and they'll do it on the road, traveling to Eugene to face third-ranked Oregon. Chip Kelly famously coached the Ducks for years, and he returns this time as offensive coordinator of Ohio State. That offense has been good, but the Buckeyes' defense has been great, surrendering an average of just 6.8 points per game. Still, Ryan Day has been just 1-6 against top 5 teams, Wilbon. This is your conference. Oregon's in it now. Who you got?
Tony, it's kind of my conference. I feel like I have to root for Ohio State because Oregon is some kind of intruder. I don't know how I feel. I barely accept Maryland and Penn State. And it's been a long time for them, relatively speaking. I think Ohio State's going to be on the short end of this one. I'm going to take Oregon to win that game at home.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the big finish if we could.
Let's do it.
Klay Thompson scored 10 points in his preseason debut for the Mavs. You excited about that?
Yes, I think Klay Thompson will be great for the Mavericks. People are, to me, sloughing that off. I don't get that. I believe in Klay Thompson one more year at least. Jaden Daniels at Lamar Jackson Sunday. Who you got?
It's not quarterback against quarterback. They're not on the field together. It's team against team. I want Washington to win. I believe Baltimore will win. Number 1 pick, Macklin Celebrini, had a goal and an assist in his first game for the Sharks. You impressed?
I was dreaming about him being a Blackhawk all last year, and then they won the lottery, and we didn't. Carlos Boozer's twin sons, Cameron and Caden, they're great. They've committed to Duke. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like father, like sons. John Shire must be the greatest recruiter in the history of the world. He gets great players. Last one, number 1, Texas. Number 18, Oklahoma tomorrow. You smelling upset?
Oh, Red River, Tony. No, I'm not. I think Texas has sort of got it going right now, but they're in a tough conference with tough games to come. I don't want to get carried away, but I think they win this game against Oklahoma in Dallas.
We're out of time. We will try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Have a great weekend, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts. Cats, let's go. Here's sports.
PTI. Tony and Mike with tonight's PTI bonus segment.
All right, Wilbon, is the Dodgers season a failure with a loss tonight?
Tony, 90% of the time, I answer questions like that with a resounding no. Because I just don't believe in that. The other guys, as you like to say, and I agree with you, are getting paid to play at the same level as well. So when you're talking about pro sports, I really just go, no, stop it. But Tony, the perception of the Dodgers is so different still than the perception of the Padres, even though the Padres knocked the Dodgers out, eliminated them a couple of postseasons ago. The Dodgers, all they do is win. But the only time they've won it all lately is in 2020, the COVID-shortened season rearranged. Because while the Lakers won that season, they played a season much more similar to the NBA season. The Dodgers, Major League Baseball, played 60 games. That's a really shortened season. The Dodgers won then.
Yeah.
But people are already saying, oh, Dave Roberts is going to cost him his job. I'm like, what? All the Dodgers do is win. But it shows you what the expectations are in Southern California, particularly after adding the best player in baseball, Shohei Ohtani. So it seems like, yes, it's going to be a failure if they don't win. I think they'll win Game 5.
Failure is a tough word.
It is.
But they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Okay? They walked into the playoffs with the best record in baseball. They have 3 MVPs at the top of the lineup. They got Shohei, they got Mookie, they got Freeman. If they go out in the second round of a 4-round playoff,
to a rival,
which is exactly what we're talking about here, then I think failure applies. Mike, and I think if that happens and you ask every player on that team, they will say it's a failure because they didn't come here for this. I'm sure the Phillies feel the same way. Failure.
Right.
And I understand there are tough words in sports. Failure is a tough word. Choke is a tough word. But sometimes it does apply. In this case, I agree with you. It would apply.
Tony, I think it would. The problem I'm having with Major League Baseball right now is it has stacked the deck to prevent its own best teams from reaching the championship round. I mean, that's what it's done. Baseball, by caving and being more like the NHL and NBA, where you have all these playoff teams, 12 teams now, whatever it is, you devalue the 162-game marathon of a season, which is different than the others. And so now you put a team like the Dodgers out there, which may very well be the best team. They got to go.
The key skill